Well, good morning, everybody. Here we are reading through Acts 9 and 10 this morning. And there's a lot of transitions that are going on in this. We have to remember that Jesus came to destroy the works of the enemy. And part of the works of the enemy was the division that had been set up, especially the division between us and God. But because the division had been seeded between us and God, it was natural for us to develop other divisions. And while Jesus walked to this planet, there were things that he tore down, such as the division between male and female. And if you don't understand the culture of Judaism, then you won't understand the significance of a lot of the things that he did. But if you can understand that culture, then you'll understand that he was restoring women to the place of importance that God had created them for. And as we read through today, we have other examples of the barriers that God had planned to destroy. One of them was with Paul and the barrier that had been erected because of the wrong teaching, the wrong learning, where Paul's education was put ahead of a revelation concerning God. And this is an attack on education at all. It's just saying that quite often we put the opinions of men and women ahead of the revelation of God. And if some great scholar hadn't spoken about it, then it is outside of our realm of acceptance. But yet God is constantly providing revelation for his word for us personally and for the leaders of today, for us to understand the seasons that we're in and what we're supposed to be walking in. So here, Paul was basing all of his actions, or Saul was basing all of his actions on the traditions of what was taught to him, and he really thought he was pleasing God. And then Jesus shows up and says, "What are you doing? You're attacking me." And the barrier was torn down, and there was a demonstration of the kingdom for he became Paul, and everything changed for him. We see the barrier here that was being torn down between the Jews and the Gentiles, and he was, of all people, using Peter to introduce that. Here he called Paul to be apostle to the Gentiles, but if Paul was doing this, there's no way that the leadership was going to accept it. So he had Peter do it. He had Peter open the door for this thing. He used Peter to open the door so that when Paul and Barnabas showed up, Peter has already started this work and stands and defends it, so that Peter and Barnabas receive the blessing for the work with the Gentiles, and they're sent out for that purpose. And so we see that Peter's being sent to the home of Cornelius, who is a Roman, is God-fearing, yes, but God wanted to use Cornelius as the example, and sent for Peter, and Peter had to enter into the house of a Gentile, which he was not permitted to do, and it was there the Holy Spirit fell, and Peter said, "Who can argue against this?" And so we have these barriers being torn down all the time, and that's what our dad does. He tears down barriers all the time, and he wants to do that through you. And so we need to look around and say, okay, Dad, what are you doing here? What barrier is being torn down? What barriers do you want to tear down through me? It could be barriers that people set up in their families. It could be barriers between children and parents and children. It could be barriers between politicians and churches. It could be all kinds of barriers that we turn around and set up. And the barriers between the saved and the unsaved. There's all these things that he's tearing down. So, yeah, I want to encourage you just to be open to what he's doing. Be like Peter. Express yourself to God so that you can hear his correction. so those things can come down and you can be used by Him, because that's what we want to be done. We want to be used by Him. So you have a blessed and wonderful day, and yeah, looking forward to everything that's going to happen this week. God bless.